sequel. I can't exactly remember when the first time I really experienced Shakespeare. You know, I was probably in high school or even in elementary school. We read sections of Macbeth and Hamlet, and I hadn't really realized I wanted to be an actor at that particular point. So reading it, I mean, it was interesting, but it really didn't. I don't think it really spoke to me as much as it would to anybody else. It didn't really inspire me until I really saw it perform for the first time. One of the first things I ever saw was the Kenneth Branagh version of Henry V, and the way that Branagh was able to meld, the Shakespearean dialogue with the action scenes and with with the general bravado of the characters and with the music and all that, and it absolutely blew me away. I have a much more personal connection with Henry V, specifically because my father was a United States Marine, and he served during the Vietnam War. After he came home from Vietnam, he suffered from post-traumatic stress disorder. He took a lot of the things that he learned while going through therapy at the vet center in Elkton, Maryland. He learned a lot about brotherhood. He learned a lot about being a fighter. He learned a lot about dealing with your emotions, and he wrote a book about it. In the book, he quotes the Crispin Day speech towards the end. And when I read it, after having read what he had gone through and seeing some of the things that he had to experience, I gained such a bigger appreciation for Shakespeare. When you read that Crispin's Day speech, and you come to that part, "We few, we happy few, we band of brothers, for he today that sheds his blood with me shall be my brother. Be he ne'er so vile, this day shall gentle his condition." It's said so much to me about my father's experience in Vietnam. And once I had gotten that little taste of how Shakespeare could still translate today, and translate for not just for actors or not just for directors or not just for theater people, for everyday people who would put their lives on the line for their country, for their brothers, I wanted to know more. I have performed several Shakespeare plays now throughout my life, and really made a habit of studying a lot of his stuff. He really speaks to most playwrights. He speaks to anybody who actually picks up pen to paper and basically wants to get their ideas out there, because he has such a poetry to what he writes, whether it is a comedic scene or a tragic scene, a historic scene or a war scene. He brings a certain poetry to the writing and thus to the acting that I think transcends so many times over so many ways. If you look at all the movies and the TV and the books, there are almost always slight Shakespearean elements. He was really kind of the original script writer, if you think about it, when it came to the way that we kind of see the world today. Shakespeare defined a good portion of the English language. Shakespeare really kind of just coined phrases that we use constantly. Shakespeare, honestly, if you watch any TV show or any movie, you can definitely see Shakespearean elements to it. Why I continue to keep Shakespeare in my life? Well, I like to think that life has a slight romantic side to it. I think that our relationships, our friendships, our enemies, sometimes they kind of fall, even if we don't want to think they fall into those categories, they kind of do. You're like, oh, that guy stabbed me in the back, and you kind of almost feel like you want to do an aside to the invisible camera or the invisible audience in front of you, or, oh, I'm in love with this person, how do I express it? I think in those elements, I think Shakespeare still kind of lives in all of us and continues to live in all of us. I have not been in the dramatic community for that long. I've only been active in the expat theater community here in Seoul for about 2 years. But in that time, I've had the experience of being able to act with several different troupes. One of the things I love about Seoul Shakespeare Company is that we have the opportunity to tackle plays that otherwise you might not be able to get to do overseas. When you come to Korea, or when you're in any country, you are pretty much a traveler. And people travel for different reasons. People travel to experience new cultures, new ideas, new romanticism. But at the end of the day, I think a lot of the people that come and travel, especially here in Korea, they are artists. They are writers, they're poets, they're singers, they're musicians, and they are actors. There is so little opportunity to continue your craft over here when you are primarily here to be teaching English or for business or for military service. And Seoul Shakespeare provides that opportunity that I think sometimes people just want to, they get an angling to be a part of a community, be a part of a play. And if you've ever been an actor, or if you've ever been a director or a producer, or anybody who's been in the kind of the theater community, you know that that creates a strong bond between most of the people that work together. Suddenly you are eating together, you are laughing together, you're writing together, you are making new projects together. The thing that Seoul Shakespeare and most of the Seoul expatriate theater companies over here do is that they bring people together in an element that maybe they're sorely missing in their lives, and it kind of helps fill that void. It kind of helps bring in that art back into your life where you're like, I am creating something, I am making something, and I enjoy doing this. Well, I will say one thing for this particular production that I'm quite keen on is the fact that this particular production is a very fluid mix of old and new. We have a lot of actors who are coming back, who have performed with Seoul Shakespeare or with Seoul Players or with Stand Up Seoul before. And yet we have an almost equal number of actors who are maybe new to the scene, maybe have performed in one or two productions, be it one of the monologue workshops or one of the 10-minute plays that Soul Players puts on. I like the fact that we have a nice fluid melding of old and new, or better to say seasoned and maybe fresh, coming together and making a production happen. This particular production, I'm very proud to say, is my second one with Seoul Shakespeare, and it's another comedy. And I'm incredibly pleased to be playing in this with these actors, many of whom I've worked with before, but many of whom I have not. So it's an opportunity to really try out some new styles and experience some new styles. For this particular role, I'm playing the villain, Don John, and I'm actually incredibly pleased to be doing that. Normally, because of my demeanor and because of my height, I usually get cast in very comedic roles, kind of the clown or kind of the guy who does a lot of the sight gags. This time around, I get to wrap my head around something that's a little bit more meaty, I think. The playing Don John this way, 9 times out of 10, when you watch a Shakespeare production, Don John's played very kind of melancholy, morose, bitter. My Don John, I'm hoping, is a little bit more lively, a little bit more in villainous, a little bit more enjoying of his villainy. In some ways, I kind of see him as the Joker to the rest of the cast's Batman. I'm hoping that my performance can bring in some of those deliciously maniacally villainous elements to it. I would say that Soul Shakespeare, Soul Players, and most of the expatriate community theater uh, groups of Soul bring a certain something that may otherwise be missing to the expatriate community here. And I think it's very important. I think it's very it's a great way for art to be expressed over here. And I think that in that, we are all lucky and fortunate to be a part of it.